Tonight I bring you episode 8. Why you keep saying yes when you want to say no, the psychology behind people pleasing. Have you ever been asked to do something you absolutely did not want to do? And before your brain could review the request, check your schedule, or consult your last remaining ounce of energy, your mouth said, "Sure, no problem." Then 5 minutes later, you're walking away thinking, "Why did I just say yes?" Now you're irritated, you're inconvenienced, and you don't have the time. And you're secretly hoping they'll cancel the thing you voluntarily agreed to do. Welcome to people pleasing, where you avoid disappointing someone else only to disappoint yourself later. Welcome to Anchor Thoughts, where we navigate life storms together, one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Toni, a board certified psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, recording from my floating office as my husband and I travel America's Great Loop. And today, we're navigating one tiny word that can make some people surprisingly uncomfortable. No. Two letters, one syllable. And somehow it can feel like you've just declared war on the entire relationship. First, people pleasing is not a psychiatric diagnosis. Being generous, thoughtful, accommodating, or helpful does not automatically make you a people pleaser. The difference is usually found in the motivation and the emotional cost. Kindness says, "I want to help." People pleasing often says, "I need you to be happy with me." Kindness gives you a choice. People pleasing can make saying yes feel like the only safe option, even when your calendar, your nervous system, and your patience are all screaming, "Absolutely not." People pleasing may look like saying yes when you want to say no, avoiding disagreement at all costs, apologizing when you haven't done anything wrong, changing your opinion depending on who's in the room, or over explaining your decisions, feeling responsible for everyone else's emotions, and trying to anticipate what people need before they ask, or just becoming intensely uncomfortable when someone seems disappointed with you. Some people can detect a 2% change in someone else's tone faster than a boat radar can detect another vessel. One slightly different okay, and suddenly you're reviewing the entire relationship. Was that an angry okay, a disappointed okay, or should I call them back? Should I send a paragraph, or maybe a small edible arrangement? That's exhausting. At its core, people pleasing is often less about making people happy and more about trying to manage their reactions. If I keep you pleased, perhaps you won't criticize me. If I remain agreeable, perhaps you won't have conflict. If I stay useful, perhaps you won't reject me. If I take care of your feelings, perhaps I won't have to experience the discomfort of knowing you're upset with me. In that sense, people pleasing can become a strategy for creating emotional safety. For some people, that pattern began early. Maybe being agreeable reduced conflict in your home. Maybe helping others earn praise or attention. Maybe expressing your needs was treated as selfish, dramatic, or inconvenient. Maybe you learned to closely monitor other people's moods because keeping them comfortable helped your environment feel more predictable. Or maybe you simply became uncomfortable with the possibility that someone might misunderstand you or think negatively about you. Over time, your brain may begin to interpret their approval equals safety, and their disappointment equals danger. Not necessarily physical danger, but social and emotional danger, or rejection, criticism, conflict, embarrassment, being called selfish, being misunderstood. Because human beings are wired for connection, those possibilities can feel surprisingly threatening. But here's the problem. If you're constantly changing your course to keep everyone else comfortable, eventually you may lose track of where you wanted to go. This is where behavioral psychology helps explain why the pattern becomes so automatic. For example, someone asks, "Can you help me this Saturday?" You really don't want to. You already have plans, or maybe your plan was simply to rest, which still counts as a plan. But your mind immediately predicts, "Well, if I say no, they'll be disappointed." That thought creates anxiety. So you say, "Sure." And immediately the anxiety decreases. There's no awkward moment. They're happy. You feel relieved. Your brain has just learned saying yes makes this uncomfortable feeling disappear. That's called negative reinforcement. A behavior becomes more likely because it removes an unpleasant feeling. The yes gives you immediate relief, but the bill arrives later. Saturday comes. Now you're tired, irritated, and resenting someone who may not even know you wanted to decline. That leads us to something important. Resentment does not automatically mean someone else has done something wrong. Sometimes resentment is telling you, "I agreed to do something I didn't genuinely want or have the capacity to do." That doesn't mean every uncomfortable obligation is a boundary violation. Sometimes we choose to do inconvenient things because they matter to us. The important word is choose. If you regularly find yourself thinking, everyone else expects too much from me, consider asking, have I communicated what too much actually means? Other people cannot consistently respect limits they don't know exist. And if you have always said yes with a smile, they may genuinely believe you're comfortable with the agreement. Unfortunately, people cannot read the boundary you only delivered internally during your imaginary argument with them in the shower. People pleasing can also become part of your identity, and people start to say, I'm the dependable one. I'm the strong one. I'm the one everybody calls. I'm the one who holds everything together. Sound familiar? But being needed can feel meaningful. It may even provide a sense of worth or belonging. But eventually, you may find yourself wondering, would these people still value me if I stop being useful to them? That can be a painful question, but it's an important one. Your worth cannot depend entirely on how available, agreeable, or convenient you are to everyone around you. You are still valuable when you are resting. You are still worthy when you need help. You are still a caring person when you have a limit. And you can disappoint someone without becoming a disappointment. So try this on for size. I want you to pause, check, and choose. If you automatically say yes, I don't want you to begin by forcing yourself to say no to everything. We are not going from people pleaser to unpaid customer service representative with a strict no refund policy overnight. Start by interrupting the automatic response. So here's step one. Pause. When someone asks you for something, try saying, let me check and get back to you. Or, I need a little time to think about that. Or simply, I'm not sure yet. When do you need your answer? Let me check is a complete response. Apparently, you are allowed to consult with yourself before committing yourself to something. Who knew? Here's step two. Check. Once you're alone, ask yourself, would I still say yes if I knew this person would not be upset by my no? That question helps separate genuine willingness from fear-driven compliance. Then check three areas. Do I want to do this? Do I realistically have the capacity to do this? If I say yes, am I likely to feel resentful afterwards? Capacity includes more than whether there are technically enough hours in the day. Consider your energy finances, your emotional bandwidth, existing responsibilities, and your need for rest. Just because you can squeeze something into your schedule does not mean it belongs there. Here's step number three. Choose. Now give an intentional answer. If the answer is yes, let it be a genuine yes. If the answer is no, you can say, thank you for thinking of me, but I'm not available. Or, I cannot commit to that right now. Here's another one. That won't work for me, but I hope it goes well. Notice what these responses do not include. A 5-paragraph legal defense, your complete calendar, a notarized statement from 3 witnesses, or an emergency presentation titled, 12 Reasons Dr. Toni is not a terrible person for declining this invitation. A respectful no does not always require a detailed explanation. Here's the final part of the experiment. After you say no, resist the urge to immediately manage the other person's reaction. If they respond, okay, pause. Do not panic and begin negotiating against yourself and say, well, maybe I could rearrange everything, come for 20 minutes, drive across town, bring a dessert, or clean up afterwards. Stop. Their disappointment is not automatic proof that you made the wrong decision. Someone can be disappointed with your answer, and your answer can still be appropriate. You can care about another person's feelings without accepting responsibility for changing those feelings. That discomfort you experience after setting a boundary does not necessarily mean the boundary was wrong. Sometimes discomfort simply means you are practicing something new. So here's today's anchor thought. Kindness that consistently requires self-abandonment is not sustainable kindness. You don't have to become cold. You don't have to stop helping people. And you certainly don't have to start saying no to everything. The goal is not, nobody gets anything from me anymore. That is not a boundary. That's a hostage negotiation. The goal is choice. When you say yes, let it actually mean yes. When you need to say no, allow no to exist without turning it into evidence that you're selfish, uncaring, or a bad person. You are not responsible for keeping every person in calm emotional waters. Your responsibility is to communicate honestly, act respectfully, and stop abandoning yourself simply to prevent someone else from experiencing a moment of disappointment. I'm your host, Dr. Tony, and this was Anchored Thoughts, where we navigate life storms together, one conversation at a time. This week, before you automatically say yes, I want you to pause, check, and then choose. I'll see you out there on the water. Until next time.